Hi guys, Hari here, solo casting another game in the Dota 2 Replays Brawl Qualifier number 4, this time in the quarterfinals between Western Wolves and NEXT.kz. Just saw Western Wolves play a very nice comeback against eSahara in the first round with a really strong late game Spectre pick, and hoping to see some more interesting play between these two top tier teams. First bans, Broodmother and Invoker, nothing unusual there. Invoker is allowed for this tournament, and we are playing on the latest version. Clinks and Puck, however, are banned, just for anyone who didn't read the news post and is curious. So Invoker being in the pool is interesting. He actually was in the last game, played by Western Wolves. Ended up getting shut down really hard early. I guess I shouldn't spoil too much of that game for maybe people who watch this before that. So, but quite a strong hero, had a big impact. Such a versatile hero, and really hard to counter throughout the game with all the different spells and all the different ways he can be played. Anyway, I forgot I should make a disclaimer for anyone watching this video. I'm casting this game despite being quite sick, actually. Basically because it was better to have someone cast this even if I was sick than no one cast it whatsoever. So if it bothers you, I'm going to be sniffling occasionally or even pausing talking. You can just mute me and watch the game. Hopefully I'll do decent camera work. Anyway, so after kind of slow first two bans, we had two more fast bans, Night Stalker and Anti-Mage, again, just kind of standard, although Night Stalker is actually making it through a lot more these days, but I guess Western Wolves really not wanting to see Next Night Stalker. Next playing a very interesting Night Stalker. Usually they tri-lane him in the safe lane and just let him farm a lot, and even farm through the first night, and ends up being a really strong late game hero. Kind of afraid of that, and then the Anti-Mage ban was pretty obvious, which led to a first pick Furion. So Furion's actually going to make it in, and then to two very easy picks from Next, which is Rasta and Windrunner. Windrunner and Rasta both just having an insane amount of disables, and Windrunner, I mean, fitting so well to basically every lineup. Shadow Shaman doing an amazing job pushing towers and having a big presence in team fights with his wards, both just very strong heroes right now. Then we have a Venomancer pickup for Western Wolves. Venomancer probably the strongest support hero right now. He's just so very versatile and great at pushing and defending and ganking, which is basically all you need to do in a game, right? With a very strong teamfight ultimate, so I don't know, no reason basically not to pick him over, or not to pick other support heroes. No reason to pick... Wow, I cannot talk. No reason to pick other support heroes over him usually. The only other one that I would think maybe is about as popular as him right now would be Vengeful Spirit, or Ancient Apparition, actually. Although we'll be interested to see with Furion already whether Ancient Apparition will be played as a support role, or whether he might actually be in the solo mid for once. Used to be a lot more popular in Dota, but hasn't really been that popular in Dota 2, for a while at least. Maybe was a little bit in the International, but since then he's pretty much always been in a support role. Although with a Venomancer and an Ancient Apparition, there's a decent chance of seeing maybe a Dragon Knight come out. Dragon Knight, Ancient Apparition combo being very strong. If this was Fire, I would say there could be a Skeleton King coming out, because Skeleton King Ancient Apparition combo is very strong. But with Dragon Knight Ancient Apparition, obviously, if you manage to hit the Dragon Knight stun, you're pretty much going to lock them in the Cold Feet stun as well. And Next, actually picking up an Ursa. I know that this is a hero that Next likes to play, although I have actually never had the good fortune to actually watch a game in which they've used him. So I guess this will be a treat for me as well as you guys. Ursa is certainly not something we see picked up very commonly in the competitive tier. Kind of almost an easy hero to kite. Doesn't really have any... I mean, he's usually going to get a blink and blink in on top of someone, Earth Shock, and hit him a bunch of times, but after that, he's usually going to get kited pretty effectively. So, kind of almost a gimmicky hero, but it does allow for very early Rosh, and maybe there's a possibility of seeing a level 1 Rosh here, although I kind of would doubt it. Crystal Maiden ban coming out for the Radiant, just trying to ban out support heroes. The Dire doesn't actually have any support, or range support at this point. And Lich not being very popular anymore due to the pushing nature of the game, of the current metagame. So Crystal Maiden being a pretty obvious ban here, although Vengeful Spirit's still in the pool. But Crystal Maiden kind of has a bit more range, more of a true support in the lane, being able to harass and protect your hero a little bit better, whereas Vengeful Spirit's more of a kind of a roaming support, using that strong early stun to set up kills, and then certainly I think becomes stronger than Crystal Maiden later in the game with Swap, which is just incredible, and can really change the dynamics of team fights. And then the Earthshaker ban, so not wanting the Dire, I guess, to have any melee initiation. If they were going to set up a tri-lane, I would assume we're going to see Shadow Shaman in the middle, Windrunner bottom, and then a tri-lane with the Ursa top. and so I guess they didn't want the melee support in the tri-lane, especially Earthshaker, who is really good at breaking opposing tri-lanes. Maybe if the Dire does, or if the Radiant do want to send their tri-lane top. Although, I don't know, with Ursa, I mean, usually getting a blink, you don't necessarily need another Strength Initiator, although Ursa's kind of your carry, in addition to being kind of an initiator. Although, maybe not necessarily initiating. I guess if you have another initiator, then you can have him kind of blink in after the initial initiation and start crushing people. But anyway, just going to take this second to blow my nose, so going to pause talking. Sorry.
Radiant team pick.
And then lastly, a Chen ban coming out. Sorry about that. I guess not wanting Western Wolves to be able to get too much of a push going. They already have Furion and Venomancer who lend themselves well to pushing. And with Dragon Knight still in the pool, it would be pretty easy for them to take Chen, set up a, I don't know, I guess a Dragon Knight, Venomancer lane, Ancient Apparition in the middle. But going to take up the Tide, I guess this means the Ancient Apparition has to be in the mid, because I don't see how else they're going to lane it. I assume they're going to take some sort of a right-click hero last. Could maybe be a Slardar if they really want to go all in on the negative armor with the Tide. Yeah, Vengeful Spirit picked up for the Dire here. Like I was saying, that other ranged support still in the pool that I kind of question as opposed to the Crystal Maiden. Although banning maybe the Crystal Maiden and the Vengeful Spirit would have been interesting. Then you would have put them in a lot worse spot. They could have taken the Lich, but the Lich just isn't such a great tri-lane support. So yeah, I expect the Radiant to pick up some sort of a right-click hero here, and how they'll lane it is, well, I don't know. With Void banned out, they can't really set up the dual lane mid with Void, which you might expect them to want to do. With the Ancient Apparition, it's kind of strong, and then maybe being able to send the Tide Venomancer into the bottom lane or something like that. Although neither of those heroes really are ones you want farming. And yeah, so there's going to be Mirana. I was actually thinking about Mirana. Well, it's easy to say that now, I guess. But I didn't actually say it, and just because Mirana's not usually picked up that frequently anymore. So again, looks like it might be another pool with Dragon Knight actually completely absent. The last pick for next is going to be some other, I don't know, I guess some sort of either a Strength Initiator, maybe like a Sand King, or it could be a jungler. Enigma is still in the pool, and they have Vengeful Spirit. There's actually, if Enigma does manage to get a BKB, there's nothing on the Radiant that could stop that. But Tide, until the Enigma has a BKB, would be pretty good at shutting Enigma down. I guess otherwise, yeah, Strength Initiator or just a strong int support hero. Although I'm not really sure what that would be either at this point. I mean, next Lich is still in the pool, but other than him, I'm not really sure too much. I mean, there's the Dazzle, I guess, if you kind of want to have a little bit of negative armor of your own, going with the Weave and the Vengeful Spirit. But yeah, other than that, I'm not too sure what they would really want to pick up here. Basically, anything is possible. Well, not anything is possible. Strength Initiator to go with the tri-lane, range support to go with the tri-lane, or a jungler is what I would expect at this point, because that's basically what their lanes require at this point. I just said at this point twice. Now I've said it 3 times because I said it again when I was saying that I said it. Kind of rambling a little bit here. So as far as actually the teams go, I guess, I don't even know how, I mean, there's so many different ways the Radiant could set up their lanes. I'm going to guess a tri-lane with the, I don't know, Ancient Apparition in the middle, the tri-lane with Mirana, with Tide and Venomancer, and then Furion soloing a side lane would be my best guess. But I don't know, Furion in the jungle is kind of falling out of favor, but that could be the case as well, and then having Mirana solo a side lane, Ancient Apparition in the middle, and again Venomancer, Tide bottom. So yeah, we do get the Enigma pick after all. Reasonable pick at this point. Certainly I would expect to see going in the jungle now, which really is the way I like to see Enigma played. I mean, he is quite strong soloing the bottom lane, but he can farm so quickly in the jungle. One of the fastest jungle farmers there is, so if you can have strong lanes and kind of not lose with him being in the jungle for a few levels, you really can catapult yourself well into the mid game. So going to see, I guess, the Ursa top with the Vengeful Spirit, I would assume, Windrunner soloing bottom, Shadow Shaman in the middle, and Enigma in that top jungle. Already has conversion, but that doesn't really say anything. So going up over the lineups, Bucking Mad here playing the Furion, going to be going solo bottom, I assume. Danny playing Venomancer, Sox playing Ancient Apparition Phoenix on the Tidehunter, and Funzy playing Mirana in the carry-ish role. Over on next side, we've got R playing the Ursa. I guess he must be the one who likes to play Ursa. I don't remember. 570 on the Vengeful Spirit. Chicken going mid with that Rasta. Enigma being played by Lucky, and lastly Equal is going to be soloing bottom on that Windrunner. It looks like we might have a gank set up top here, but looks like they're going to probably back out just in time. Although the Vengeful Spirit is kind of in a precarious position, although I don't imagine, there was no smoke, so I don't think Western Wolves is going to be able to catch them. Just kind of trying to protect their setting up the wards to stop the pole camps, which means the tri-lane is going to be top, which is normally what you would expect with something like a Mirana, a more aggressive carry hero who can farm well in an opposing, in the opposing safe lane. Which again was why they banned the Earthshaker, I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, Mirana works well against Earthshaker, but when you want to face the opposing tri-lane, you don't want the opposing tri-lane to have an Earthshaker, and because, Earthshaker can really change how tri-lane versus tri-lane works by splitting the opposing team and making it more difficult for them to fight effectively, even if they have a numbers advantage. It usually makes it into a numbers disadvantage. Going to be a haste rune here. Not too much can happen with that. Actually, no. I've got a ward here from the Dire. This is going to be protecting because this means they expect the tri-lane to be top, and this ward is basically going to protect the two supports roaming bottom from top, or roaming to the middle from top. And I don't know where their other ward is or who has it. Shadow Shaman going an interesting build here, just 3 Iron Branches and 1 healing salve. Just wants a little bit of regen and to rush to that bottle. Yeah, Enigma actually scouting them out, I guess, with his conversions. Sorry, I didn't catch actually which lane he converted from, but obviously just using that conversion early on. He's actually, I guess, going to stack this first before converting one of the creeps and then attacking him down. So we're going to have the Ancient Apparition in middle. Just after I said that that's not really popular anymore, they go and do it. But Western Wolves like to be unconventional, I guess. Although I really think that Shadow Shaman is going to have a pretty easy time against an Ancient Apparition in the middle. Aether Shock is just such a strong ability to last hit and harass at the same time, which are the two things you want to do when you're going 1 versus 1 in the mid lane. Although the only risk is that you push the lane out and make it easier to get ganked, which is why you have that ward here protecting you. Meanwhile, Furion is going to be up against the Windrunner in bottom. Furion does have a pretty good attack animation, so it shouldn't have too tough a time, but Windrunner is such a strong side solo, so this could be anyone's game. We'll have to see. And meanwhile, you're going to have a dual lane against a tri-lane top, so gonna have to be a little bit careful with his Ursa, which is unfortunate because maybe without the Ursa getting the farm, you would hope that he would have. I'm not going to get to see what kind of interesting Ursa play they could have planned here. This ward going to block the pull and make it so that they really can't control this lane now that the Radiant pulled to the strong camp here. Ursa maybe thinking about going and finishing off these creeps if they were low enough. Actually, no, he's just going to stack this so that they can then pull, or maybe he was trying to pull and just missed the timing. I assume he's just stacking, though. Although the stack didn't actually work anyway. Venomancer, still level 1, so no Poison Sting. Not going to be enough to catch the Vengeful Spirit out here. And they're just going to both go back to farming. Or, more accurately, the Radiant are going to go back to farming while the Dire sit back and do nothing. So, actually, pretty good lanes here from Western Wolves. The tri-lane doing what it does, which is shutting down dual lanes. And they're winning this top lane pretty easily. Meanwhile, Enigma is farming in the jungle. And I guess Ursa's just going to head in here too. I mean, Ursa can jungle, and with the conversions helping him, it shouldn't be too hard for him to do that. Again, this is the problem that I was talking about with having the Enigma in a jungle, is that you have to win your lanes in addition to having it. And I love having Enigma in a jungle because it means he farms so well, but it means you could be at a disadvantage. Whereas if you had the Windrunner top, you could be tri-lane against tri-lane and maybe have a better chance. Although I really don't like Windrunner in a tri-lane. She doesn't get the level she needs. But anyway, so it looks like they're going to have the Ursa actually just go into the jungle top, and Enigma's going to transition to the jungling the Radiant jungle, which actually could be pretty good, because once Enigma hits level 4, although he might actually just go for it right now with the Windrunner. I was going to say once he hits level 4, he'll have level 2 in Malefice, and he'll be able to set up a potential kill on the unsuspecting. Oh, Furion's going to try TPing, and the sun's going to come just in time. Shackle Shot not going to latch to the tree, though, but it's going to stop the Furion TP into the mid. Windrun's still off cooldown. I'm surprised that Windrunner is actually backing up here. I would think that he would keep going after the Furion. There's no one else down here. They know where most of the Radiant is, unless they maybe suspected that their TP's in. They have no vision. But kind of early to expect TP's in. I'm really surprised they didn't keep going there on the Furion. But now Furion is going to have to back up a little bit more, and I guess Equal just wants to get a little bit more farm. And meanwhile, Yeah, going to roam. Oh, Furion actually TPing in, so even though he sees with this ward, it's not going to be in time, and this is the great combo of Furion and an Ancient Apparition, is Furion being able to TP in and throw a Sprout on top of someone, and Ancient Apparition having that cold feet is going to pretty much guarantee that you get a kill, because the Sprout sets them still for long enough. Yeah, no tangos on the Shadow Shaman. You know, against Ancient Apparition Furion combo, I would like to see, instead of him going with that healing salve, him to have had 3 tangos, but didn't do that, and still doesn't have tangos. Again, I feel like he probably should have bought those out. Just having, you know, the tango can be such an invaluable item on a team or in a game against a Furion. Meanwhile, Venomancer and Tide running through the dire jungle, making life a little bit more difficult for this Ursa. Ursa does have a poor man's shield now. Meanwhile, yeah, Ancient Apparition gonna roam bottom with a double damage rune, maybe looking to set something up. Gonna have a tough time of it with him by himself, but Furion is going to TP in here on someone. Cold Feet going out on the Windrunner. Going to trap the Windrunner just in time. Oh, she eats out, but is still blocked by the trees. So the Cold Feet does trigger, and she gets stunned, and the Windrunner dies. So nice rotation here from eSahara. Basically, Western Wolf, sorry. They were playing against eSahara. eSahara was the Radiant in the last game. I apologize for that profusely. But yeah, good rotation from Western Wolves here, doing a really good job of moving around, utilizing that Furion. I mean, this is the great thing about when you have a Furion in your safe lane. It makes it so easy for him to get those levels early on. You know, normally when Furion solos a side lane, he's going to solo the top lane, which he can do because he can send the Nature's Call out into the jungle over here and kind of see if he's safe. But usually they're just going to back him off. He's not going to get much experience for a while, which is why I don't mind seeing a Furion in the jungle. But here in the safe lane, he just guarantees experience. I mean, he's already level 5, almost level 6. He's going to have that ultimate, and he has level 3 in the TP, so he can just TP around. Where's he going now? Going to set something up on the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman going to back off. Still, see, this is why you need the tangos. If you had the tango, you could eat through one of the trees here and you'd be fine, but isn't carrying any tangos, and he's going to pay for it. And now we're already at a 3-0 advantage, and let's take a look at the gold graph. Going to be actually more than 500 once that kill registers, so a strong start for Western Wolves here. And again, I cannot emphasize enough, when you're playing against a Furion, especially a Furion with an Ancient Apparition, you got to make sure you have tangos. It's a cheap item to have, and it's going to give you regen sometimes when you need it, and it's going to break you out of Furion when you need it. Although, I kind of missed that, actually. Push on the bottom tower from the Enigma and Windrunner. And then I go away, and of course there's a kill top. Nice job by Mirana, actually, setting up a solo kill here on the Vengeful Spirit. I guess they tried overcommitting, maybe to kill her. And meanwhile, Enigma is actually going to get caught out. Yeah, Venomancer has Gale and Poison Sting. There's no way this Enigma is getting out of here. Furion going to TP in and help out. Windrunner trying to set up a nice Shackle shot, but it's, yeah, just not going to be enough. Enigma's going to die. Windrunner's going to say, alright, see ya. At least I'm getting out of here. Throwing out one last attack to harass. Maybe thinking if she did enough damage, she could send a power shot in. And oh, meanwhile... Sorry, missing action everywhere. Western Wolves dominating on all fronts. Ancient Apparition picking up a kill in the middle on the Shadow Shaman. Ancient Apparition already level 8 against the level 6 Shadow Shaman. So everything I said about Shadow Shaman having a good time against the Ancient Apparition middle was completely wrong, basically because of the Furion ganks. And again, it just all comes down to having tangos. I mean, if he had the tangos, he wouldn't get caught in the Sprout, and the Cold Feet wouldn't stop him there. He'd be able to get away. Meanwhile, Mirana is actually diving a little bit deep here, but with Furion TP in, Furion does have his urn finished, and so he's probably going to be able to kill off this Ursa. Yeah, despite tanking some tower damage, able to finish off the Ursa. And Ursa, I mean, only level 4 and basically with no items. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a game where I get to see that late game Ursa, or that impressive Ursa that I was hoping for. So I don't really know what next plan has to be at this point. I mean, Enigma just needs to get to level 6. Chicken needs to take some towers with his ultimate. Ancient Apparition ult gonna fly in here, hits the Enigma. Furion ult bouncing in, but no, Furion gonna actually look to TP. Oh, but Enigma goes through the trees, and the shatter is just barely not gonna happen. Meanwhile, Shadow Shaman throwing down his wards just in range of the tower, so nice job there. Going to be able to put some pressure on this tower. The one thing Next does have going for them is that they have already taken one tier 1 tower. Furion just walking in, going to attack a few people a few times. This isn't going to be enough to take down the tower, and they are going to farm these wards, which was unfortunate, but have done a fair amount of the tower here, and it's really important for them to take some towers to kind of open up the map and give them a little bit of space to breathe. Meanwhile, with Western Wolves kind of breathing down their necks right now. I guess I should take a look at the items. Furion, like I said, finished that urn, has boots, and 1,100 gold already. Mirana finished her treads already, Wraithband, and a magic wand. So Mirana actually getting some really nice farm up top. I should take a look at that as well. 38, yeah, actually leading farm. I mean, I guess she had a tri-lane with her, so that makes sense. But leading farm in the entire game, and on the Radiant, obviously. Although, meanwhile, you've got 4 heroes who are farming quite well on the Dire, so at least kind of split farm, thanks to that Enigma being in the jungle and being able to farm himself. Oh, and meanwhile, just missing a kill on the Windrunner in the middle. I assume it's basically the same combo. Although Windrunner was able to break her way out, obviously, with a power shot, or yeah, didn't have any tangos, I don't think, but with a power shot. But still enough to take her down. Ancient Apparition ult involved in that as well. Sorry. But speaking of Ancient Apparition, Phase Boots finished, as well as he has his bottle. Activating a double damage on the Shadow Shaman. Oh, action in bottom. Shadow Shaman going to actually get taken down by the Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet just everywhere at once. This is the power of when that Nature's Prophet gets a solo side lane and gets those levels early. He's just able to TP around every 20 seconds. Now he's going to put pressure on the towers. Basically, he has his treads finished. Or maybe he's going to go for a Midas, actually, since he can afford to. Because I figured he had enough gold to actually finish his treads if that's what he wanted. So yeah, this is going to be a Midas. Vengeful Spirit coming and placing down a ward here, but the Radiant's going to know that's there, and they're going to counter ward it pretty soon. And then the Dire's not really going to have much vision on the map. They've got this ward here at least, which is giving them something. And speaking of the map, they're going to try to take some control of it by pushing down this mid tower. Unfortunately, not going to be enough. The conversion's going to die off without the creep support. And Shadow Shaman actually is up top. Furion going to TP in and help out his teammate, although Ursa's just going to turn and try to do something to the Furion. Oh, but not going to be enough to kill actually either. Oh, the Acer Shock just in time. Takes down the Furion for the first kill for Next. So Western Wolves only with a 2,000 gold advantage. Meanwhile, though, action in the middle. The Ancient Apparition ult, I think, just grazing the Windrunner, doing a little bit of niggle damage, but not enough to actually kill her. Although I'm not sure it would have been enough. Probably would have been enough to kill her if it had actually hit. I'm just going to power shot down these creeps. Going to try to keep pressure on this tower. So to finish up the items, Venomancer just being the ward bitch, doesn't have anything but boots and have been buying wards. Tide, basically just boots as well. Shadow Shaman really didn't have a good time middle, so basically just boots as well, has his bottle. Looks like they're gonna try to maybe set something up here, or I don't know, maybe Tide's just hanging around to get experience. Already has level 7. I mean, the big problem here is just these levels on the Radiant. They're all quite high. 8, 7, 10, 5, 7 against, well, 9, 5, 6, 7, 6. Usually when you jungle, you expect to have level advantage, but the lanes were just, no, I don't know, won by the Furion TPing around enough to the point that the Radiant has level advantage too. But Enigma does have his ult here. But didn't use it in time, actually. Could have ulted both of those with the Shadow Shaman wards. That would have been 2 kills, but just didn't react in time to ult both of them, and Shadow Shaman throws down his wards for nothing. So that's always unfortunate. Meanwhile, the Furion is actually pushing out the bottom lane. Has enough gold for his Midas now, which I assume he's going to go. Maybe he just wanted the gloves and didn't want to finish the treads because he wanted more attack speed and wants to save gold for finishing something else out. I don't really know. I assume he's TPing back to get the Midas now, though. Meanwhile, let's see. Vengeful Spirit obviously just ward bitching. Enigma, Soul Ring, boots. I would guess he's going to go into a fast BKB. It could be a mech, but I would assume, yeah, going to be a BKB. Because, as I said, once he has the BKB, there's nothing on the Radiant that can actually stop his ult, which might be what Next needs to turn this game around. Windrunner, you would think, should be higher than level 7 and should have some good farm, because the thing about the Furion constantly TPing around is that the Windrunner should have just been left to farm bottom, but that didn't really happen. Doesn't have very great farm, and not good levels either. Oh, the Sprout just barely missing the Ursa. 2 TP supports coming in here, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to react in time. Shackle Shot comes out, doesn't actually latch, pretty close to latching. Power Shot hitting 2. Titan just going to turn back around and Ravage. Enigma's going to want to ult, but the Ancient Apparition ult's going to fly in and actually finish off the Enigma. Maybe enough damage to finish off the Tide here. No, and the Ursa is going to be really close to shattering, but actually he's just going to TP out and he should be fine. Meanwhile, Sprout coming out on the Shadow Shaman. Not going to... Oh, Shadow Shaman shackling the Furion, but not going to be enough. Cold Feet coming out. Yeah, the Shadow Shaman's probably going to go down. Runs back around into the Vortex and gets Cold Feeted up. Goes down to just a Mirana arrow. Not arrow, but arrow from her auto attack, and yeah, that's going to be on the kill there. Still pressuring this Vengeful Spirit. Mirana has both her abilities. Probably going to launch an arrow in here to... Nope, Furion's actually just going to TP in, and Mirana gets the last hit. But Tide is actually going to die to the tower for it, but I guess that's worth it, and they're going to keep pressuring it. Well, not necessarily worth it in the sense of the hero trade, but worth it because it means they can keep pressuring this tower. Meanwhile, Ursa has actually gone to farm middle. Still a ways away from, I assume, he's going to go for Vlad so that they can take the Roche, but maybe he won't. Maybe they'll just tank Roche and he won't actually go for the Vlads. I'm not sure on the competitive level if Vlads is a core item on Ursa or not. Shadow Shaman does have his wards up though, so I assume they're going to come finish off this mid tower now. Venomancer trying to stall them a little bit with a Gale and some wards. Venomancer actually only level 6, so the odd man out on this team, not really good at anything. Yeah, Shadow Shaman here wanting to trap the Venomancer, get a kill on the Venomancer and the tower, but it's not going to be enough. or not able to catch him. Cold Feet actually coming out on the Ursa. Ursa's going to get frozen here. He's going to be a lot of trouble with this Furion TPing in. Furion going to deal a fair amount of damage here. Ursa's kind of tanky, but without Vlad's, he's not going to regen health when attacking there. And yeah, looks like they're going to maybe be able to completely turn this around. Cold Feet up on the Ancient Apparition, not going to get in range to throw it out on the Shadow Shaman. A little bit afraid of the Aether Shock there, which could have killed him. Though he does have 2 charges in the bottle, so I'm kind of surprised. Oh, and a Force Staff. I'm surprised they didn't try to dive on the Shadow Shaman there, but I guess Vengeful Spirit with a stun as well and a swap, maybe just a little bit risky. But gonna probably get a revenge kill on this tower as well. So Shadow Shaman ult being used to take a tower, and then when you get a tower without one, that's pretty good for business. And I assume it's gonna go down. Maybe an attempt on a nice shackle shot, latching the Ancient Apparition here. Shadow Shaman able to finish off the Tide. Vengeful Spirit swapping back the Venomancer. Venomancer gonna go down as well. And on the side, who did I miss? Oh no, the Ancient Apparition obviously killed first with a nice shackle shot from the Windrunner. So 3 kills there actually, but unfortunately not able to deny the tower. Yeah, no Vlad's finished here, but they're just going to go take Roche anyway. With the Eidolons to tank it, they'll be able to kill it easily enough. Obviously the point of having the Vlads is that Ursa can soul the Roche, but as long as he has team support, he can take Roche down regardless. They're just going to change stuns into this Roche while he quickly takes him down. So 3 kills in a Roche, I guess, is one way to just try to turn this game around. We'll probably see that gold graph dipping down a bit more now. But still, I don't know. The Radiant have a pretty strong advantage, so it's going to take a bit more than that. A few more good team fights from the Dire to turn this game around. But with Enigma more than halfway towards his BKB, that could be just what they need. I mean, really haven't seen any big Enigma black holes yet at this point. And one big Enigma black hole can be so crucial. And once he has the BKB, Tide won't be able to stop it. Tide obviously having an amazing ult, which is having a big impact on this game so far. Although not as big of an impact as Furion, who's basically been the MVP of this game, TPing around and applying so much pressure. I mean, that's why Furion's normally banned. So if you'll excuse me for 1 second, I am just going to blow my nose again, sorry. Couldn't have picked a worse time. Anyway, action going in top. Nice ward trap from the Shadow Shaman, but Swap is actually going to take him out. But Ancient Apparition can go down as well. Maybe that's the Force Staff, not the Swap, actually taking him out of the ward trap. And Ursa does manage to get a triple kill, actually, so that's certainly going to help Ursa's farm pretty well. And yeah, he is going for the Vlads, like I would expect. I mean, just getting all that extra life leech from his Fury swipes is basically too good to pass up. So doesn't want to miss out on that. And does have an Aegis now, so going to make him a little bit more difficult to kill. So nice turnaround there. The Radiant just being a little bit too aggressive, playing that far up. Sorry I missed that at the beginning there. I know it really sucks to miss action. I'm really sorry about being sick, but there's not a lot I can do about it. I blame the Big Bang. I don't know. Furion ult coming out though. And Furion did go Midas, like I expected. It has Midas and Treads now. Midas is just going to help him farm, a lot faster. Which is never really a problem for Furions in the first place. Most people probably think of Midas as a more pub-oriented build because they go Midas first, but this Furion, going running around ganking a lot rather than just farming. But now that he spent a lot of time ganking, he wants to spend a little bit of time farming, so he's getting that Midas just to up his farm a little bit. Meanwhile, actually, Tide catching the Enigma here. Going to use his ult to prevent the Enigma TP. Furion, yeah, going to easily TP here on the Enigma. Going to throw it on a Sprout, which will trap the Enigma. Enigma thinking about turning around and black holing, but wasn't close enough. Meanwhile, Ancient Apparition going to try. Oh no! I think the ult is barely missing, although it does graze the Shadow Shaman, so going to apply the effect regardless. Wanted to get a kill on the Shadow Shaman there. I'm not sure if the ult would hit even then if it would have been a kill, although it is level 2 ult, so it does 350 damage. So that's certainly not insignificant. Windrunner almost finished with the Force Staff. Well, not almost, but close to finishing a Force Staff. So that'll certainly be nice. I mean, the Force Staffs, yeah, on Ancient Apparition, like I was saying, really easy generally to kite Ursa around, and Force Staffs is definitely one way to do it, but having Force Staffs on your team is a way to counter that. Gonna try to go for a kill here on the Priestess of the Moon. Using the level 2 wards is kind of unfortunate when they were able to burst it down so quickly, but I guess they thought maybe they would need it, and maybe they would have, I don't know. The wards attacking did do some damage in the immediate beginning there, so can't say it's the worst thing ever. But it's unfortunate to see that used and not taking a tower, obviously the way you normally want to use it. But I mean, it's certainly their option to prioritize kills or towers, and killing that Mirana was important. So now the gold graph, just about a 3,000 difference. The Mirana at 3 and 2, so it's kind of stopping her farm, but 92 CS, so yeah, The Mirana, well, actually tied with the Ursa for leading farmer in the game. So the Ursa is certainly picking up his farm. So I guess maybe we will have a chance to see that big impact Ursa after all. Almost enough gold for the Blink Dagger, which I assume will be his next item. The sooner he gets that, the sooner he can really have an impact. Already has max overpower and Fury Swipes. Will be getting higher points in more points in Aftershock, so he can slow down the people that he blinks in on, and really just blow them up with the Aftershock or with the Fury Swipes and overpower. I just said the names of them. I don't know why I can't think of it. Probably because I'm out of it. Shadow Shaman still hasn't actually gotten his first core item yet, whether it be Blink or BKB, I would assume. It's pretty unlikely he's going to go for Aghanims first. Against the Radiant, I would assume it's going to be BKB first, so that he can, shackle someone for a long period of time and not have to worry about that tide ult. There's the Blink Dagger on the Ursa. Any other interest? Yeah, 4 staff actually finished on the Windrunner. Furion going for that ult staff, so pub build for sure. Not claiming that he's a pub, but pubs love to go Midas. I mean, pubs including myself. I love going Midas into ult staff. It just gives you so much farm. It lets you take over a game if you're not losing it in the beginning. And with that ult staff, he's just going to be able to push the lanes out very strongly, make it very difficult for Shadow Shaman to make it to a Radiant Tower to throw down his wards if the lanes are always pushed out. Has enough gold to finish the Aghanims now. Probably go finish it right away. I doubt he's going to save buyback money, although having buyback money is always so important on a Nature's Prophet, because if you get picked off at the beginning of a team fight, you can teleport back in and have a pretty big impact later on. Meanwhile, Enigma does have his BKB... Oh, no, it's a Soul Ring recipe? It confuses me. Maybe a misclick, I'm going to assume. I assumed that was the BKB recipe, which is why I assumed he was finished with the BKB, but so I guess he's going to be, well, if he sells this, basically 50 gold off of the BKB, I think. Something like that. Ancient Apparition, just farming up the bottom. Typical Ancient Apparition build, no point in Chilling Touch. I was spending a little time the other day arguing with someone about why that's the worst ability in the game. Over Caustic Finale is what their argument was. And I'm sure you guys can say other things about what it's actually worse. Which I'd be happy to hear in the comments, because I love getting comments, even if they're about my mistakes. Although, this wouldn't necessarily be a mistake, but other things would. Going to have a push on the tier 1 tower here. Enigma converting up some creeps, and this tower is pretty low, so they'll probably get it. Yeah, Shadow Shaman actually throwing down his wards right away, so they really want to take this tower. I doubt the Radiant can try to defend it, although Mirana may be trying for a nice deny here. Does get deny, so nice job by the Mirana. The Dire, a little bit passive there, I guess, maybe still a little bit afraid, but they had, I guess, yeah, I just wanted to finish the Enigma BKB first before going into that team fight. But I really figure, I mean, he was so close, why not just finish the BKB, then go push the tower? Although I guess the tower gold is, even though being denied, is part of what got him it. Wondering why he has this extra Soul Ring recipe now. I'm sure he is as well as myself. But, well, it happens sometimes. No one's perfect. We all misclick from time to time, and the shop could still afford to be optimized a little bit more, I think. Maybe I'm talking too fast. Some people complain that I talk a little bit too fast, which is good for the action, I guess, but not so good in between. So I'm going to try to slow down a little bit when I get the chance. So BKB going to be the next item on Ursa. I'm pretty positive with the Ogre Club. And I mean, that's going to be really important for him. Then we're going to have, what, 3 BKBs probably coming out for the Dire sooner or later, which would really make a difference in these team fights. The Tidehunter ult being basically nullified if they can get the BKBs off before the Tidehunter ults. Still good farm for the Dire here, or for the Radiant here, though. Venomancer snagging an Invis Rune before the Enigma can get there. Ancient Apparition, actually, yeah. Ancient Apparition... Socks, I think sometimes, well, I don't know, he plays different roles for this team. In the last game I saw he was playing more of a carry role, and so he's kind of doing what you would expect carries to do here, where he's just sitting in side lane farming, which is fine as an Ancient Apparition because, from here, if the fight's happening in any of the other lanes, it's pretty guaranteed he's going to get a hit with his ult because of how big it is. So it's kind of fine for him to be doing this, but it certainly is strange. Normally you would expect to see more of like a Mirana doing it, but I guess she's doing it top. Really, the Radiant is doing an excellent job of keeping these lanes pushed. I mean, Ancient Apparition keeping the bottom lane pushed, Mirana keeping the top lane pushed. Oh, there's the ping from all the pings. Gotta hate that. And then, obviously, Nature's Prophet keeping all the lanes pushed. The only lane, really, that the Dire have been able to push out is the mid. But I'm not sure the Dire are going to care about that too much. It's hard to say if they have a better late game, because A, I haven't really seen what Ursa can do, and B, I mean, the Radiant has Furion, Furion is Furion. But I guess given the way the game started and all the pressure that was being applied to them, they're happy just to have a little downtime to farm. Fortunately, they have no blinks here, so... Oh, but a Force Staff is actually going to be enough to catch the Shadow Shaman up. Yeah, Stun's going to come out after the Shackle, and that's going to easily be enough to pop the Ancient Apparition. So Ancient Apparition goes down thanks to the Force Staff from Windrunner. So nice little Force Staff play there. Kind of a quasi-blink, a poor man's blink, as some people have said. Although it costs 50 gold more than a blink, but it does so many more things. Such an amazing item. Love going that first on Windrunner. It just gives you so much mobility and so much assistance to your team. Mirana, those illusions, yep, that is a Manta. Oh, and actually, meanwhile, Tidehunter going to get caught here by the Shadow Shaman. Mirana going to throw out the ult. So Ursa jumps in and not actually able to hit the Tidehunter. That really sucks for him. Meanwhile, Furion actually picking off, well, Windrunner, I guess, with the bounce from his ult. I was looking around to see where that happened at, but I guess it was right here. Windrunner just being a little bit low, maybe in combination. No, not with an Ancient Apparition ult. Windrunner just being too low, not being careful of that really powerful Furion ult now that he has the ult staff. Almost level 16 too, and that, God, level 16 with an ult staff, that ult is just a pain in the ass to deal with, constantly pushing lanes, doing so much damage to everyone on your team in team fights, or when they're trying to farm lanes. So, kind of a poor play there by the Dire, doing a good job catching out the Tide, but without any dust or counter sentries. The Ursa just blinks in, uses Overpower, and isn't able to free or snipe anyone. Thanks to the nice Mirana ult, the power of Mirana having ult. 2 points in it already, which is, you know, some people prefer not to, or to max leap before even taking any points in Moonlight Shadow. Here, obviously taking 2 points in Moonlight Shadow before maxing leap. Double damage rune activated, maybe pressure this tower a little bit, although that's going to be tough for them. They don't actually have a ward up here, but they do have one here, which will give them vision if the Dire tries to fight in the woods, but the Dire is actually probably just going to play back behind the Ursa here. The Ursa still has the token, or the Aegis. Oof. It almost has his BKB finished, actually. Shadow Shaman, yeah, you're still a ways off from your BKB. I was wondering about 3. Oh, arrow flying, actually, and going to hit the Ursa. The Dire's probably going to be happy to fight. Like, oh, Vengeful Spirit actually swapping the Ursa out, so I guess saving that Aegis is pretty important to them. Not actually going to get a kill on the Vengeful Spirit, so it was a good swap after all. I was kind of wondering, because, you know, when you have the Aegis, having the other team initiate on your person with the Aegis, if they use a lot of abilities, then you can turn around and fight, and probably win the fight with the Aegis guy coming back up. But they didn't really use too much, just an Ancient Apparition ult after Mirana arrow. Tide still having his ult being the big problem there, so I guess it was better just to swap the Ursa out and save his life, or save the Aegis, rather than risk losing a bad team fight, thanks to the Tide. Although, now that the Enigma has the BKB, I'd really like to see him, you know, try to ult someone. Like I said, I still haven't seen a good Enigma ult, and I'd like to see that kind of have a big impact on this game. Shadow Shaman actually chasing this Venomancer around now. Question. Oh no! Don't do that. Don't ever do that. So just actually wasting his wards, and meanwhile the Radiant are just gonna say, okay, we're just gonna push this top tower. Windrunner doing her best job to harass them back with Power Shot, but it's not gonna be enough. Can easily take down this tower, and Shadow Shaman ult is on cooldown. I mean, yeah, if you can guarantee a kill on the Venomancer, it's probably worth dropping your wards. I mean, it is. But here you didn't even have a guaranteed kill. You had no vision. You're just dropping the wards. I think, yeah, someone on their team might even just pinged it, saying something about that. So really, I don't know. Just not happy to see that. If you want to keep chasing, chase him out the other side. Hopefully hex him, throw down the wards, and then shackle and finish him. Don't do it like that. But 2 out of 3 pieces towards his BKB. Just needs the recipe now. An arrow actually going to fly out. I guess they thought maybe there was a chance that the Dire were doing Roche. Roche is back up. Oh, which means that the Aegis actually was never used, which is kind of too bad. Maybe it would have been better for them to try to bait that team fight top with the Aegis if it was about to run out anyway. I mean, what have you got to lose, right? But grouping up here, they want to push this mid lane out and kill these wards so that they can take Roche again. Gotta have the lanes pushed out around it. Unfortunately, the Furion ult making that really difficult for them. And Venomancer, yeah, is going to be throwing up a bunch of wards here. They're going to try to do it really fast. They have the Vlad, so he will go down really quickly. And meanwhile, though, Mirana and Tide are just going to be happy to push them top. They know what's going on here. They figure, okay, well, Ursa can take that so quickly, we really can't stop. Ooh! Almost a snag from the Ancient Apparition ult. So going to have TPs in top here. Ooh, arrow going to fly, not going to hit, though. Tier 3 tower already at half health. That's not a man. That's got to be an illusion. Nope, that's a Manta. Wow. Furion just supercharged farm. I guess that's what the Midas and the ult staff does. So it already has his Manta done. Furion just with an insane amount of farm. Looking at the gold graph, still advantage climbing a little bit for the Radiant here, even despite the Roshan kill, although it dropped just a little bit back down with that Roche kill. Oh, a swap actually from the Vengeful Spirit and a stun, but with no blink from the Shadow Shaman to follow up, it's going to be a tough fight for them to win. Shadow Shaman does have his wards back up, though, so I assume he's going to throw him down here. Got to throw him down soon. Going to throw him down right at the title. Enigma coming in. Not going to black hole anyone, though. BKB's straight through the Tide, and they do get a kill with the wards, but that's just one kill. And I mean, I guess the Tide does waste his ult, but the Enigma also wastes a BKB charge. So a win, but a Pyrrhic victory. Meanwhile, Shadow Shaman just going back bottom to push out this lane that Ancient Apparition has still just been, sitting in and pushing. That's basically, this lane is his. He's like a Broodmother, except an Ancient Apparition. I bet this guy likes to play Broodmother. I've probably seen Sox play Brood. I don't really remember, though, right now. I can't really remember. Ooh, and Furion actually, tried to catch the Shadow Shaman there, but not able to. Furion just with so much pushing power now with that ult staff, and Manta is going to be able to push down tower so quickly. Ancient Apparition ult going to fly in, does hit the Windrunner. Windrunner power shotting just to try to slow this a little bit. It's going to be enough that she's going to be able to push these creeps back for a second, but if the Radiant comes back, yeah, they're going to be able to... Oh, yeah. Nice timing on the cold feet, preventing her from... she was too busy running, and then he hit the tower, so she wasn't able to turn around in time for the deny. Nice job by the Radiant there, guaranteeing that tower, and now with only one Tier 2 tower left, compared to 3 Tier 2 towers left on the Radiant side. So I want to take a look at this gold per minute of the different players. Furion, yeah, 562 gold per minute. Just insane. I wonder what his creep score is. 220. That's the problem, is the game goes later and later. Furion is just a force. So going back into the gold per minute, though, Mirana sitting at just over 400 gold per minute, and Sox actually, like I said, just farming that bottom, so he's farmed quite well as well. Mirana going to throw out the ult. Is there going to be a dust? Well, they kill the Mirana in time anyway, and I guess, nope, there's no dust, no sentry wards, so they didn't learn their lesson from the first time, but they're going to see this Tide when he comes out. Ursa with the blink, and then is just going to Fury Swipes him a few times. Not going to have to follow up. Meanwhile, though, Enigma was initiated on by the Venomancer and the Fury in the middle. Going to try to TP out here. Oh, just barely gets it. So, yeah. Sentry wards. Dust. You're playing against the Mirana ult. I don't know. Have it. Does no one? I mean, the Vengeful Spirit was over there, and he's the one who should be carrying it. So, I don't know. I guess having treads is more important than seeing the opponent when they use one of their abilities. Furion going to TP in on this Windrunner here. Windrunner's going to quickly power shot to kill the trees down. Enigma doesn't actually have the black hole, or no, does have the black hole, doesn't have mana, but he has the soul ring, so if they set up for it, he can do it. But they're being quite careful of this. Windrunner going to force staff out of the cold feet. Ancient Apparition ult flying and not actually going to hit anyone. Ancient Apparition actually kind of in a bit of a rough spot here, but yeah, just force staffs himself down the hill. Although maybe they're going to follow. Ursa doesn't quite have enough mana to do too much here. Thinking about something? Nah, just decides to pop his ult in anticipation of doing something, but not actually doing anything. And they're just going to go back to farming. But again, this is, as we've seen from the gold graph, or the gold per minute, this is a battle that the Radiant's winning with 567 gold per minute Furion. And, I mean, Ursa's 417, which certainly isn't bad, but, I don't know. Going late game against a Furion who's this farmed, I mean, easily has buyback gold now. He's going to go for his next item, which is going to be a sheep stick. Already basically almost there. Just needs, 1,500 gold, basically, which isn't going to be too much for him. Going to actually pick off this Ancient Apparition bottom. No Mirana ult this time, so cannot save the Ancient Apparition. Furion TPing in, but not actually able to do anything. Meanwhile, Mirana just playing around with her illusions, continually pushing out this top lane. And this is the problem with Mirana doing this. It just puts so much pressure on the Dire, because if they spend too much long team fighting or doing anything else, I mean pushing a tower in another lane, Mirana's going to be up here and she's going to take this tower and maybe even do some damage or take the Rex. So it's just such a nice play to have a hero like this Mirana always keeping pressure on one of these side lanes, which obviously is made much easier when you have a Furion on the team. So meanwhile, I don't know. We just need a big team fight. The mech is done on the Enigma and still has the BKB. So hopefully at some point we're going to see a big Enigma ult, which is going to have some sort of an impact. Yeah, BKB also finished on the Shadow Shaman. So again, able to dodge the Tide ult pretty effectively. Kind of a necessity when you go up against Tide. Vision here actually on this Ursa, but yeah, these are just going to be illusions. He's just going to quickly destroy out these illusions. Meanwhile, Windrunner kind of hiding out here. 4 steps through the trees, hoping to pick someone off, but yeah, they're not going to catch anyone. And meanwhile, Shadow Shaman just going to continually push out this bottom lane so that Ancient Apparition doesn't have his effect. Ancient Apparition level 16 now. Also very close to getting a sheep, so about to see 2 sheeps come up for the Radiant, and as much as I'm happy about these BKBs coming up, the Radiant's just one step ahead with their farm. Yep, Scythe of the Vise done on Furion. Gonna be done on the Ancient Apparition soon, and I don't know, it's gonna be really tough for this Ursa. Has a BKB with, yeah, still 9 seconds left, so only 1 charge used. But, I don't know. I don't feel like he can do enough damage in the time that BKB is out that he's going to be able to counteract all these basically strong heroes from the Radiant at this point. They have so much CC and disable with these 2 sheeps now, and with the Tide ult, with everything that Furion can do with the Sprout. Gonna be interesting, but I don't know. I mean, we'll see. They have Vengeful Spirit, who is, like I said, in my opinion, maybe the best late-game support hero. That swap is just so powerful. If any of you watched the last game of Western World versus eSahara, Vengeful Spirit having such a huge impact on that with the swaps. So, could do anything. I mean, in theory, you could always have, you know, Vengeful Spirit running into the Enigma ult and swapping someone else into it, which isn't unthinkable. But yeah, here's what I was talking about. So the Dire spending a little bit too much time dicking around bottom, and what's Mirana doing? She's just pushing out this top. Now she doesn't have any vision up here, which is what she really wishes she had, because it would make her easier to know that no one's coming from this area to gank her. So she just ends up sending the illusions. But the illusions, along with the Furion ult, are actually going to mean that they can get in and do more damage to this tower. Going to bring it down probably almost to not quite almost to deny range. Ursa is getting there in time. Fortunately has a TP as well. But yeah, Mirana's basically just doing this. She just stays in the woods, farms up the jungle a bit, and then as soon as the lane gets pushed back out, farms that. And yeah, I mean, that's going to keep pressure on this Dire team and make it really difficult for them to actually be able to have the time to team fight. Going for a gank, the 2 of them, but actually not smoked up. Normally you would expect to see smoke when they're roaming around like this, because if they came past a ward like here, they could have been in a lot of trouble. Although actually the ward's going to all be down for the Radiant now. Ancient Apparition does have 1 on him, which I assume he's going to place somewhere soon. But yeah, once this one comes down, the Radiant will have no vision, so I guess that gives the Dire a chance to maybe set up some ganks. Hopefully, somewhere. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure if the Ancient Apparition placed a new one. Meanwhile, though, the Furion actually in bottom, maybe gonna get, the stun, gets the stun just barely in time. Shackle's gonna come, Shackle Shot actually gonna come next from the Windrunner, followed up probably by a Shackle from the Shadow Shaman, yeah, and that's gonna be enough to finish off the Nature's Prophet. So, I mean, that's great that they were able to pick off Nature's Prophet, but yeah, just gonna instantaneously buy back, throw out his ult to get the gold back, and meanwhile, Mirana and Tide still pushing out top. Fortunately, the Dire are smart enough to carry TPs, I mean, as I would expect. So this push actually not going to be able to do anything, but again, it means that they were able to get a kill bottom. They couldn't even turn it into a tower because of this pressure in the top lane. So, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one to come back for the Radiant. I mean, now the Furion is, his buyback is on cooldown, so if they get the Furion, get a kill on the Furion now, he will be dead for good for a while. Speaking of kills, maybe able to pick off this Venomancer here. Almost enough money for the blink. Oh, actually going to get 4-staffed again from the Windrunner. But, yeah. Let's see. Oh, no, there is a counter ward here, actually placed by the Vengeful Spirit. So finally does have some counter wards, but wasn't close enough that they were able to pick him up. Blink finished on the Shadow Shaman. I assume we'll see a blink on the Enigma. Yeah, blink on the Enigma as well. So, double blink coming up. That could surprise the Radiant and may lead to a good team fight. Invis Rune when you're smoked up. Maybe they'll have someone else trailing. Come grab the Invis. No. Interesting to leave the Invis. But I guess in a hurry to pick off this Mirana, and Tide could actually get a good pick off here. Enigma does have his ult. Oh, gotta throw your BKB in anticipation there. You know what's gonna happen. Well, they're gonna get the Tide anyway, but Tide's already used his Ravage, so oh, maybe they're not gonna get the Tide after all. 4-staff from the Windrunner, but Shackle Shot and no Shackle Shot and no mana. Meanwhile, Mirana Illusion's chasing from behind. Actually, a little bit risky with his Courier. If Mirana had targeted that with the Illusions, could be a problem. Hex on the Windrunner. Furion basically just throwing out his Manta and doing some damage here. Nice swapping the Furion out. Ooh, really good Ward Trap. Shackle Shot not latching, but the Ward Trap holds him in place for a little bit longer. Yeah, just long enough to take out the Furion. So Furion is dead for a while now. Shadow Shaman popping his BKB and shackling the Venomancer in place. Enigma is just going to ult on the Ancient Apparition, but it's going to be enough to take the Ancient Apparition down. Meanwhile, Hex coming out on the Mirana. Mirana going to leap away, though. Malphus not probably going to be enough to catch. Yeah, no Hex following up there. Meanwhile, though, the problem is that the Ursa actually wasn't there. If Ursa had been there, that would have been such a different... I mean, they would have... Well, I'm not sure if they would have gotten one more kill. You couldn't ask for much more than getting 3 kills, but they would have at least gotten the tower and maybe been able to push more. But it's certainly not bad. I mean, winning team fights when your carry is off somewhere else farming. But I don't know. I don't know how much of a late-game hero Ursa really can be. Especially, you know, you have Mirana on the other team who's like I said, the way you defeat an Ursa is by kiting him, usually with Ghost Scepters and Force Staffs, but interesting blink up here. Maybe he knows that there's a ward here and wants to counter-ward it. Yeah, I guess counter-ward probably, no. MKB coming on the courier. It's just a lot more damage. And, oh yeah, another Roche is up. So we're going to take this really fast this time. Still have yet to actually use an Aegis, though. I mean, getting a Roche is great because you're getting all that extra gold and experience for your team. But you'd like to see the Aegis used, although this time you're going to have an Aegis and a Cheese. I imagine the Cheese will go to the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman, his BKB really big in that fight, as well as his Blink, able to set up pretty well. Really excellent ward trap on that Furion. Oh, and meanwhile, Mirana actually going to get caught by the Enigma top, but she pops her ult. She'll be invisible for a bit longer. Enigma might think about blinking after, but like, oh wait, no, Enigma actually did have a gem. I didn't even realize that. So good pickup by Enigma, finally trying to counteract that Mirana ult with a gem, but the Mirana's just a little bit too fast with the Yasha from in the Manta and the leap, giving her bonus speed after jumping. So she's going to be fine. Meanwhile, Windrunner actually has finished a pipe, so that's to, counteract the Ancient Apparition and the Tide and the Venomancer and the Furion ult, so that's really not bad. Meanwhile, though, Ursa is actually caught out here. This is probably going to be the end of the Aegis, I imagine. No, he's actually going to pop his BKB right away. Normally, I would expect him to wait until the Aegis was used and then pop his BKB. Nice ward trap again from the Shadow Shaman, using his BKB and then shackling someone else. So some nice disables from the Shadow Shaman there. No ult on the Enigma. He's going to blink in and just stun the Venomancer anyway, though. So going to get a 2 for the Aegis trade, which is probably going to lead into a push in the middle. Unfortunately, the Shadow Shaman wards were used, but with such a good ward trap, who can really complain? Shadow Shaman, getting swapped out, but he's going to die regardless, and then the Force Staff on the Ancient Apparition, so that actually wasn't worth diving there at all. Definitely some overplay. Missed that. I didn't really think they would keep going. I thought they understood that the other team was far enough out, but I guess when you have this many blinks, you can get away with it, kind of. Well, didn't get away with it there. Gonna have a pause coming out, which is gonna give me a second to talk about this. So, MKB on the Ursa, I mean, obviously fine item. There's no butterfly coming out anywhere on the Dire, or on the Radiant, so it's not really to counter that, it's just for the extra damage. And obviously the mini bash every time, probably going to happen twice within each overpower. So that's going to be some significant extra burst damage. And I mean, wow, look at that, hitting for 433 damage. That is certainly not too shabby. I guess he has the Vengeful Spirit aura, which is, yeah, max now. Vengeful Spirit level 17, not too bad. I mean, I guess probably everyone's past level 16 at this point. No! So, actually, the Dire have kind of done a good job with this farm game. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are asking, why am I not showing the gold graph? There's the gold graph. So the Radiant's still certainly leading the gold graph, but I guess the disadvantage they've had with having all these lanes pushed out from the Furion ult and everything is that the Dire kind of have gotten an experience advantage. Well, looking at that other thing and calculating it would just be too much work. But, I mean, everyone level 16 or higher. Vengeful Spirit actually level 17, which is quite surprising. I guess he's been involved in a few team fights with 14 assists, obviously. But yeah, so meanwhile, the Venomancer and Tide both not with their level 3 ultimates, which I guess is somewhat of an impact. Although with this many BKBs, not doing a ton, BKBs and the pipe from the Windrunner. Windrunner, I assume, by the way, going for Hex next. I guess this gives me a chance to kind of run over the other items. Vengeful Spirit, still basically just with what you would expect for ward bitching. No actual item pickups, so even though he's getting the experience, he's not necessarily getting the gold. Yeah, we already know what Ursa has, I already know what Windrunner has. Enigma, yeah, Mech, Soul Ring, Blink, BKB, Treads, and Gem. So basically all his slots used effectively, except, I mean, he'll probably replace the Soul Ring next if he doesn't die with the Gem. Ooh, yeah, the Shadow Shaman actually, in that dive, I guess he probably used the cheese while he was fighting in the woods there. So probably, hopefully wasn't there. Tide does have his Blink now. I'm probably a little bit late messing on that one. Venomancer with the pipe. Obviously the Hex and the Force Staff on Ancient Apparition. Yeah, a little bit of chat coming out there. Mirana, as I looked at a second ago, does have MKB finished as well. Nice pickup on a Mirana, obviously, getting let her do a lot more damage along with that Manta. So if they can set up a fight where she can sit back and attack, I mean, it certainly could be really good for them. But the Dire does have a lot of great team fight abilities with Shackle Shot, Enigma's Black Hole, and Enigma's Black Hole actually will be coming off cooldown pretty soon here, since it was used up top and not in this most recent team fight. He will have it, so they can probably continue this push, although unfortunately with Shadow Shaman dying from the bit of overplay there, and a great Force Staff out by the Ancient Apparition, wasn't able to turn it into exactly what you would hope. Anyway, with this pause, I'm going to take a second to blow my nose again, so you guys can just stare at this pause screen. Enjoy.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle barracks are under attack. Radiant's middle barracks has fallen. Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
Yeah, so, oops, I actually, the game was unpaused, and I made a big mistake. Well, the unpause caught me off guard because there was no warning, and I actually forgot to turn my microphone off mute, so I was talking for a little bit without saying anything, actually in the VOD, so I apologize about that. Again, maybe not the highest quality VOD ever, but you guys will have to live with it. Well, you don't have to live with it, you don't have to watch it, but it's better than nothing, right? I hope. So what I was saying was, the Dire able to take a melee racks there, or both racks. Certainly didn't expect that, but just a good team fight from them. I guess that's the power of the Ursa with the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman trapping someone in the wards and the Ursa being able to beat on him, and then BKBing and shackling someone else and the Ursa being able to beat on him. Just allows the Ursa to beat on people, like I was saying, without fear of being kited. Getting a few beeps now. I don't know really what that's all about. Hopefully nothing too important. But yeah, so nice team fight from the Dire, and really able to, I guess, turn this game around. Gold graph back down to 0 and up 1 lane, so nothing to complain about there. I'm going to move the mic a little bit. My mic is messing up. I apologize for that. But yeah, so the interesting thing in the team fight was that they won a team fight without actually having the Enigma ult, which is what I thought was going to kind of be the game decider in this, or what could, you know, turn things around for the Dire. But actually without an Enigma ult, just a really good Shadow Shaman ward trap, which Shadow Shaman has done. I mean, I was kind of critical of him in the beginning for not getting tangos, and getting ganked by the Furion a few times with the Ancient Apparition combo, but has done an amazing job with the ward traps. Interesting point on the Shadow Shaman, though. Only 3 points in the Shackles. I don't quite understand that. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't just get 1 more point in it. I mean, the difference between level 2 Shackles and level 3 Shackles is the same as the difference between level 3 and level 4 Shackles. I guess just not enough time with the BKB, but still 8 seconds on the BKB, so I don't know. Meanwhile, the Radiant is going to push out the bottom lane. Maybe, although I guess not wanting to get into a trade situation when they're already down 1 racks. Furion going to be TPing in behind here. I don't really know what that's all about. He's going to die quickly, but I guess maybe he has the buyback, and so they're just kind of trying to bait his death into a team fight with his buyback, but he hasn't bought back yet. And, wow, no, not quite going to catch the... Oh, nope, going to catch the Mirana. Yeah, wow, Mirana goes down to the Malefice. So, I don't really know what the Radiant was doing there, but Furion does buy back and is going to, I guess, TP back in and do something. Meanwhile, though, Tide and Ancient Apparition, rather than coming and helping in the team fight, have just been chasing around the Windrunner, who, you know, is pretty tough to chase down with Windrun and Force Staff. Meanwhile, Mirana actually buying back into the game because they know they can't lose this. Furion getting swapped out, though, and he's not going to have a buyback now. He's just going to get bursted down. So no matter how much farm you have on a Furion, it's not really going to matter if you just die twice. And that's going to lead to this melee racks and probably ranged racks as well. Shackle coming out on the Venomancer, who does land a good ult on 3, but is still just going to go down so quickly, and this Ursa is just doing an insane amount of damage. So whatever doubt I had about the Ursa, I guess as long as you have enough stuns to set it up that he can't be kited that much, which you have with the Shackle and the Hex and the Malefice, Shackle from the Windrunner, etc., I guess is enough to make Ursa a viable hero. Tide gonna blink in and use his ult. A good ult and good Ancient Apparition ult. Probably gonna be enough to finish off the Enigma and the Shadow Shaman if Mirana can just hit each of them once. Gotta go get that Enigma. I mean, finishing off the Ursa, which I guess is the higher priority target, and Enigma does end up shattering after all, just barely from that Ancient Apparition ult. But 2 racks is down now, and just instant buybacks basically from all of the Dire. Maybe someone will see this gem here, or maybe not. I think he has vision of it, so I would assume he would go pick it up. Maybe just a little bit too focused right now to notice something like that. But yeah, the Dire are just all buyback and gonna go try to push out this bottom now. No new items on Ursa thanks to the buyback, but still I don't know, apparently that's all he needs. I mean, his damage really comes from, well, his damage comes from a lot now when you've got his ult burst hitting him up to over, or boosting him up to over 300 plus damage, hitting for 400 a swing. With overpower, he's hitting 6 times for that much. It's a lot. And I guess as long as you can keep people held still, then it's going to work. And that's what you can do now that you have the BKB, well, not now that you've had the BKB for a long time, So the Radiant just going to have to concede this tower. There's no way they want to get into a game-deciding fight at this one. And going to defend up at the bottom barracks here. Pushed out the other 2 lanes a little bit. Mirana, yeah, going to TP back. However, wow, and in 2 seconds, Ursa's already blinked in and gotten a kill. Enigma getting a black hole, but not really black holing anything. Unfortunately, not using his BKB before he black holed, so not able to trap anyone in there. Vengeful Spirit, though, picking off Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet, I guess, got swapped out by the Vengeful Spirit again. Just, I don't know, bad positioning. Mirana's going to try to do some damage here, but meanwhile, Ursa doesn't really give a shit. He's just going to take down these racks, and they're going to get Mega Creeps, and that's going to be GG. There's no way the Radiant are going to be able to come back from this, no matter how well they play, and that's pretty much it. I can't believe this. I mean, this really, I thought the Radiant had a strong advantage most of the game, but I mean, that's the power of Fury and keeping the lanes pushed and farming well. And they had such a good early game, but just a couple team fights, and suddenly the Dire just won, so I apologize for, I kind of maybe talked a little bit too much about how I thought the Radiant had such a large lead, and the Dire just won out of nowhere. I feel a little bit foolish in that regard, but I guess it's just a really nice comeback from the Dire, if you want to call it a comeback. Maybe some people say that I'm biased. I'm hearing that about Chaffee, so maybe you guys will say that about me too in regards to thinking that the Radiant was up so much. Certainly not biased in that regard, though. And next are going to advance on to the semifinals. Thanks again to our sponsors, SteelSeries, Twitch TV, and TeamSpeak. The second time I've been on TeamSpeak, even though I'm talking on TeamSpeak right now, although I'm only talking to myself, so not really. But thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the tournament. This has been Hari. Sorry about being sick, but it is what it is.